Shelter is one of the most basic human needs: food, water, a place to live. But somewhere along the way, we decided housing wasn't just about shelter, it was a business, an asset, a wealth machine. And here's the twisted part: the value of your home actually depends on how badly other people can't afford theirs. It's like if water companies made more money the thirstier everyone else got. Congratulations, housing market. You've officially gamified survival. It wasn't always like this. Before the mid 20th century, homes were mostly just homes. But after World War II, governments, especially in countries like the US and Canada, pushed hard for home ownership. In the US, home ownership jumped from 44% in 1940 to 62% by 1960, thanks to federally backed mortgages from the FHA and VA. Canada saw a similar boom through the CMHC, its national housing agency. Politicians sold it as stability and prosperity. And it worked, for some. But those gains were never shared equally. Redlining, exclusionary zoning, and discriminatory lending kept Black families and other marginalized groups shut out of the market. Homeownership was framed as the path to wealth, but the doors were locked for millions. By the late 20th century, housing had fully transformed into a financial product. Your home wasn't just where you lived. It was your retirement plan, your status symbol, your ticket into the middle class. And here's the kicker. Federal Reserve data shows that about 70% of the average U.S. household's wealth is tied up in their home. But that wealth doesn't come from the house magically getting better over time. It comes from scarcity. Your house is worth more precisely because someone else can't afford one. But let's be clear. Middle-class homeowners aren't the enemy here. Most of them don't really own their homes anyway. The bank does. Month after month, huge chunks of their income go straight to mortgage interest, funneling wealth upward to lenders and investors. Often better than renting, sure, but still extraction. And while it was good that more people could afford homes in the mid-20th century, the narrative quickly flipped. Homes stopped being a place to live and started being a way to cash out. Plenty of homeowners sold when values spiked, raking in profits. But here's the catch. Every time a house leaves the hands of a regular family cashing out, it's more likely to land in the portfolio of someone who can afford 10 of them: investors, speculators, corporations. So wealth doesn't just move sideways, it moves up. At the bottom end of the market, you've got the classic slumlords. Matthew Desmond's book Evicted found that in Milwaukee, 1 in 8 renters faced eviction every year. And landlords made higher profits renting unsafe, rundown homes at inflated prices because poor tenants had nowhere else to go. But the game didn't stop there. After the 2008 financial crisis, when millions lost their homes, Wall Street smelled an opportunity. Companies like Blackstone bought up foreclosed houses in bulk, turned them into rentals, and became mega landlords. According to a 2018 Federal Reserve study, corporate landlords raise rents faster and evict tenants more aggressively than small landlords. Housing wasn't just a roof anymore. It was a financial product, something to be packaged, traded, and squeezed for profit, like oil. And it's not just private landlords or banks driving the system. Governments and policies have played a huge role too. Take zoning. Local rules often ban duplexes or apartments in favor of single-family homes, which keeps supply tight and property values high. Protecting neighborhood character has often been code for protecting housing wealth. And then there's the infamous red tape. Some regulations are vital, like environmental protections, safety codes, or fair labor standards. We need those. But in places like California, those same tools have often been stretched and abused to deliberately slow down construction. In Los Angeles, for example, any housing project over 49 units used to get bogged down in a site plan review process, adding months or even years of delay, until the city only recently exempted affordable housing from it. Developers routinely face a maze of planning approvals, neighborhood hearings, and lawsuits that stall projects long past reason. And here's the thing. That didn't happen by accident. In many wealthy communities, layers of red tape were designed to keep home values from falling by keeping new supply scarce. The result? one of the worst homelessness crises in one of the richest regions in the world. Not a coincidence, a feature. The bigger picture? Just like too little regulation leads to corruption and unchecked greed, too much red tape can be exploited in the exact same way, enriching the already rich, just under the banner of process. And then there's the top of the pyramid, the ultra-rich. According to the Federal Reserve, the top 10% of U.S. households own nearly half of all real estate wealth. In Canada, Statistics Canada reports the top 10% hold about a quarter of residential property value. Corporate investors in Toronto own roughly 1 in 5 new condos. So yes, your rent check isn't just covering your landlord's mortgage, and your mortgage payment isn't just chipping away at your loan. Both are sending steady streams of wealth upward to banks, lenders, and the ultra-rich who profit most from the system. And here's where the dystopia sets in. The richer they get, the harder it becomes for everyone else. Housing wealth should be taxed at much higher rates, and that revenue reinvested into things like affordable housing and co-ops. But instead, the wealth at the top compounds, while renters get squeezed. We see this pattern globally. In the UK, home ownership fell from 70% in 2003 to 63% by 2019, while private renting doubled, according to the Office for National Statistics. In Australia, tax perks like negative gearing have fueled bidding wars that pushed first-time buyers out. In Canada, Statistics Canada reports that housing wealth doubled in value between 2005 and 2020, while wages barely moved. The pattern is the same. Many governments emphasize rising home values as proof of success. That's right. State and municipal agencies regularly tout real estate appreciation as a sign of prosperity, even as homelessness, evictions, and unaffordability keep climbing. So here's where we are. A roof over your head isn't just shelter anymore. It's an investment vehicle, a retirement plan, and a profit engine for the wealthy. You don't actually live in your home. Your home lives in the stock market, and you just rent it back. And maybe the scariest part is this. When profit depends on other people not having a home, maybe the system isn't broken. Maybe it's working exactly as designed.